right. Hey guys, we are at WBC. This is Saturday morning. We are very privileged to meet with Ryan Heilman and Dave Shaw.
Hello.
Didn't want to mess your name up, sorry.
No, it's all right.
They are designers for Brave Little Belgium. This is a game that's going to come out from Hollandspiel.
That's correct.
In 2019.
2019.
Fast playing, fairly simple, yet I think strategically deep World War I game. It is in essence, there's no VPs, you're simply trying to best the historical scenario, and as the Allies, you're trying to stop the historical result.
That's correct.
So, guys, take it away. Tell us, why did you want to design this game?
Okay. I'll turn that to Dave. I've been to Belgium about 25 years ago. Fell in love with the country. Always was a big fan of World War I as well. So while I was there, I just was impressed with all of the monuments and the sense of appreciation for what Belgium did in World War I. I know that there were a lot of games on World War I, but while I was there, I thought it would be really cool to have a game that just focused on the Belgian aspect. Because most people, when they think of World War I and the Western Front, particularly the opening months, you think, oh, the Germans just passed through Belgium, and then there was the Battle of the Marne. But that really wasn't the case. There actually was fighting in Belgium with the Belgians defending their territory, the French coming in the south, and then, of course, the BEF showing up later on as well. So I had that idea, that was 25 years ago, and then just sat on it. A couple years ago, Ryan and I, we've known each other for 40 years. We've played games just as long almost. I brought it up to him that I had this idea floating around in my head. I didn't know what to do with it. I threw it to him, and he ran with it.
Yep.
I really do have him to thank for bringing this. This game would not have seen the light of day if it had not been for Ryan's hard work. He really put a lot of effort into crafting the model that we then developed.
Yep.
And so, it's been about 2 years we've worked on it.
2 years.
With the last year being, really intense work on it. And I'll give it to Ryan now because this part is where, he shines.
So you can see the map in the background. Ryan did all the graphics for that.
Yes.
I think it's very eye-catching. It reminds me of Belgium, right? They're always orange or that color, so that's a good choice. Very nice graphics choices. I think you did a great job. So how did you move this forward to get it to this point?
Well, like I said, about 2 years ago, Dave said, hey, I got this game. I said, that's great. And I just immediately started running with it. I started immediately putting together a map. I have a little bit of graphic design background. I do teach graphic design. I started doing some counters. And at that point, I kind of said, Dave, I don't know what to do next. You take it. And it kind of languished a little bit. And it wasn't even a year, maybe about 6 months ago, it was in the winter. Just looking on Facebook and all these people that were making games. I said, I can do this. So I took it back up. I said, Dave, we need to finish this. I grabbed the game, started putting some numbers on counters, started coming up with mechanics. We started brainstorming back and forth, modifying the look and the feel, and came up with a pretty workable model fairly quickly. Put it on Vassal, experimented, changed, and came up with this final design. And once we had the final design, we sent out some prototypes, and we were lucky enough to get a couple offers, and we were very lucky that Hollandspiel was interested. While designing this game, I was reading a ton of Tom Russell's blogs.
He's an amazing writer, by the way.
He is. And I was really taking a lot of it to heart. Map size, counter size, number of counters, complexity,
about a lot,
a lot of that type of thing. And so I sent it off to Hollandspiel hoping they would take it and they would want to run with it. We felt that this
really was their kind of
fit their model.
Exactly.
In fact, Ryan specifically had an 88 counter max because that's their
model.
Like we cannot go over 88 counters.
Right?
We want to add.
We kept it.
Yes. And
how many counters does it have then?
88.
88. Got it.
And
nice.
So,
well done.
Yep. And so, luckily, Tom and Mary at Hollandspiel, they read the rules first and gave me really positive feedback on the rules. and then said, hey, you can send us a prototype, send them up the prototype, and within 2 days they were back to me with an offer.
We're very excited.
We're very, very excited.
And we were very honored because it's our first design.
Yeah.
And we have no credentials, so we were very honored that they were.
Well, I would assume they had a similar experience to Alexander and I. We've been playing this 45 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It immediately catches you as something that's interesting.
Yep.
That is for sure.
And that's what we were going for.
Yeah. I want to explore this and figure out how to do it. I definitely want to play this more. So you used chit pull,
yes,
right?
Yes.
What was the reason for that thematically?
Well, that's kind of funny. We had decided on the point to point. We knew we wanted a point to point. We had
Isn't
not
that kind
decided.
of standard in World War I? Kind of.
Well, it's funny back in when I was in Belgium in '93, I was envisioning it as a hex game.
Okay, yeah.
But it was funny because now Ryan says he's not the gamer that I am, but it was his idea to do point to point, and I was like, you know what, that works. That's much better than that's totally fits this subject.
Yeah.
So we knew we wanted a point to point, but we didn't know how the activation was going to work and all that. And one night I'm like, wouldn't it be interesting if we had some sort of counter and you pulled the counter and the armies would activate and you pull a counter and some events would happen. And the newbie I am a little bit to war games, I didn't realize that mechanic already existed.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm going to stop him just for a second because, and again, he's totally doing this on his own.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, when he presented the idea, I've played a couple of the victory games from Multiman, Victory Lost, Victory Denied, chit pull games.
Yep.
And then also, and I'm jumping ahead just a little bit, the idea of the end of day, again, victory games across 5 Aprils.
Right.
You had that end of day that you could pull at any time to end the turn.
So to end the turn, you require all 3 of the end of day chits to be pulled.
Yes,
right.
And there's about 10 chits in that cup,
Give or take, yeah.
So
there's fewer at the beginning, and then you add in as armies arrive on the battlefield.
Good use of that. I think that's a very neat way to do it.
Right.
But chit pull, I like chit pull because it has some uncertainty.
Yes.
You may or may not be able to activate your units. You may or may not be able to do what you want to do, and I think that, to me, sums up war.
And that's what I kind of think. And when you were saying you wanted to think about the strategy is very important. But then there's that random element.
It may be shot in the head, and you may have.
I know I'm not phrasing it, word for word, but no plan survives contact with the enemy.
There you go.
But
planning is indispensable.
But you have to, right? You can't not.
Yep.
Exactly.
So real quickly, there's an element you did with the counters that was different, not grognardy, but
nope.
Tell me about the movement and the combat values.
Yeah, and again, this is back to me. A lot of this game is how I think.
Right.
And so I made the game how I think. And I played some games that, I had mimicked some mechanisms and whatnot. But when I did the counters, I actually ended up putting the movement value first and then the attack value second.
Right.
And in my head, that made sense. The armies move, and then they fight.
Right.
They don't do it backwards. But tradition in war games is it's the reverse.
Other way around, yeah.
And I've already gotten some feedback about that.
Yep.
And,
it'll be interesting to see, like, on forums, what people say about that.
I'd be very interested.
Yeah.
It's already made its way on CSW, I
There
believe.
you go. You'll get a lot of comments on it.
That's fine. Right. And that may change in development.
Yeah,
Sure.
we're going to leave that to
as long as you know that up front it works. But I understand how there's a lot of how people are comfortable with it. They don't want to change.
I don't want to call it a standard, but it's what people are used to. But Ryan and I were playing it, and it wasn't until someone pointed that out to him, and he said it to me, that I thought, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right.
I had been playing it without even really thinking about it to myself, because I think I was just thinking about this game. I wasn't really thinking, other war games are, set up ABC. It worked for what we were doing. But again, that we'll see how it watches out and develops.
And I also see the game as being very much of a entry game.
Right.
And because I had some experience playing Euro games and other games, and I was including some mechanics in that aren't necessarily wargaming mechanics in some areas. I feel like it could be an entry game for somebody that hasn't played war games before.
Right.
And maybe
to help them
start
thinking strategically.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's not a heavy-duty game. It's a lot of dice, fun roll type game. So I'm excited because I think it has a little bit of a broader market than some traditional war games. It's not so much fitting into a niche.
It's a gateway game to
Exactly,
me.
gateway.
It's going to draw people in from all types of crowds.
Exactly.
So what's the ultimate goal?
Well,
The ultimate goal of the game.
Oh, the ultimate goal of the
Yeah.
game. I'm like, the ultimate game, let's get this thing published.
Right,
and sold.
right.
The ultimate goal of the game is the Germans have to get through Belgium as quickly as possible.
Right.
They got to get their infantry, I'll use this map, their infantry across this victory line here.
Yep.
They have to defeat and destroy Namur and Liège. And they got to do it by August 19th or 21st.
So they have about 5 to 6 days to get that accomplished.
Yeah. And if they do that before that time,
Right.
or on that time, they win. If not, and they do it more on the historical level, it's a draw.
Right.
And if the Allies hold them off all the way to the end of the game, that's a win for the Allies.
Allies victory.
So that's the basic victory conditions of the game.
How long does the game play typically?
Hour.
Hour.
At most.
Because we played about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yes.
And got through, I think, the first 2 turns.
That's correct.
So,
And I think the systems that Ryan and I have come up with, that, you know, it models the historical reality
yeah.
really well. Now, of course, this is not in any way, shape, or form an attempt to do a definitive simulation
Right.
of the invasion of Belgium.
Right.
You know, there are games that do that and do it very well. What we wanted to do was, number one, focus just on Belgium, which has, to my knowledge, not really been done before in a World War I game, but also to make it historically based, but to make it fun
Right.
and quick. And like Ryan said, something that when people sit down and play, particularly if you haven't played a war game before, you're going to say, hey, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to try something else. There's concepts here that you'll see in other games that should roll and things like that. So, you know, we're hoping, like Ryan said, broad audience,
Yeah.
easy play. You know, this is something you can set up and play while you're waiting to take turns in a bigger game, you know.
There you go.
And,
Yep.
and you know, or it's a game where you could sit down and play, you know, one side and then switch
Switch and-
sides
yep.
and try, you know,
Yep.
in one sitting.
Yeah.
You know, so we're very happy with how it's come out.
Yeah.
And
Well, I would say you should be proud of this for a first, especially for a first attempt. This is really good.
well, thank you.
So I had
appreciate that.
fun. I know Alexander had fun, and
Wonderful.
frankly, we play games to have fun.
That's
You know, we
That's
like
what
to
we wanna hear,
simulate
yep.
history, but
Yes.
we want to have fun.
right.
So, guys, we really appreciate it. Once again, Ryan Heilman, Dave Shaw, Brave Little Belgium, coming out in 2019 from Hollandspiel.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for your time, guys. We
Thank
really
you.
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
both.
Thank you very much.